guys, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be making Twix cookies using just 5 main ingredients. These are so delicious. They have a buttery shortbread biscuit base, they have a layer of salted caramel sauce and a chocolate topping. They're super quick and easy to make, so let's begin. These are your 5 ingredients. So you need softened butter. You can use unsalted or salted butter. I actually prefer to use salted butter because I do like my cookies a little bit salty. But if you only had unsalted butter and you just wanted to add a little sprinkle of salt, that's absolutely fine. You also need plain or all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, milk chocolate or dark chocolate or white chocolate, whatever your preference is, and salted caramel sauce or regular caramel sauce. You just need to make sure that it's thick. If you don't have something like this, which is the Sainsbury's Taste the Difference salted caramel sauce, which is my absolute favorite, I'm actually going to show you how you can make your own caramel sauce at home as well. Obviously, it won't be 5 ingredients, but it's an option for you. And finally, optionally, you can decorate with a chunk of Twix as well. So let's get started on the shortbread. So you need a nice big mixing bowl, and we're gonna add in our softened butter, our plain flour, and the sugar. And then you're just gonna start to mix these together. I always start with a spoon, and then I tend to go in with my hands to make sure there's no large lumps of butter left. Okay, that is mostly combined, so I'm gonna go in with my hands. If you are wearing rings, I would recommend taking them off because otherwise they end up caked in shortbread, and we don't really want that. Also, make sure your hands are clean. So you're literally just gonna start to squeeze the dough together. I actually love doing this with my hands. I feel like there's something really therapeutic about like squeezing shortbread together. So now that's fully combined, I can feel there's no large lumps of butter left. I'm just actually gonna squeeze it into a ball because we're gonna transfer it onto the surface and roll it out. Okay, so it should look like this. I'm gonna go rinse my hand and then we'll be back to roll it out. Okay, so my hands are clean and my surface is now clean. So you need some extra flour and you're just gonna spread that out onto your surface. You could also use a pastry mat or something like that if your surface wasn't great for rolling out, but you just need something that it's not gonna stick to, like this is great. But yeah, pastry mat, even better. Now you grab your dough, place it on, and I also find it best to also flour your rolling pin. Let some of that flour drop onto the dough as well. And you're just gonna start to roll that out. So aim to roll it out into about a circle shape, but we're gonna re-roll anyway to get as many cookies out of this as possible. And I'd recommend to continue flouring your rolling pins so it doesn't stick. Okay, that looks great. So it should be about 1/4 centimeter thick, so they're nice and thin. And then you're gonna grab a cookie cutter. This one is about 3.5 inches or about 9 centimeters. I also recommend just flouring your cookie cutter as well. Again, just so it doesn't stick. If you only have one like this with the like crinkle edge, then you can always use the other side of it, which is what I'm gonna do, or you can have them with a crinkle edge. That's totally fine. So we're just gonna press that down. Twist and then just go around, put them as close together as possible. But like I said, we're gonna re-roll the dough anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. And that's pretty much all I'm gonna get out of that one. So with the excess dough, you're just gonna pull it off, squeeze it together, and you're gonna roll it back into a ball. So now I'm gonna scoop these up using my spatula, which I've just floured. They need a little bit of encouragement sometimes. And then just transfer them onto your cookie sheet. You can actually even grab your cookie cutter and push them into a perfect circle again. There we go. So now we're just gonna scoop the rest of them up, transfer them onto the cookie sheet, and then reflour your surface. And we go again. so I got 8 cookies out of our shortbread. There is actually a little bit left, but it's not gonna roll out into a perfect cookie, but you can still bake it. You can just roll it into like mini cookies and you can put them on the tray. So this is gonna go in the oven at about 150 degrees C if you have a fan oven, 170 if you don't have a fan oven, for about 10 to 12 minutes. I'll show you exactly what they need to look like, but you don't wanna go super like golden brown with shortbread. You want it to be nice light brown so it stays nice and soft and buttery. So I'll be back and I need to clean up. Shortbread is messy. Like I said at the beginning, if you don't have a nice thick caramel like this one, you can always make your own. Also, just to note, do not use a runny or slippery caramel because your chocolate will just slide off and the caramel will run off, and that's not quite the look we're going for today. So to make your own caramel, you need condensed milk, sweetened if you're in America, unsalted butter, or salted butter, but then you won't need as much salt, light brown sugar, and golden syrup. If you don't have golden syrup, because I think golden syrup is a UK thing, you know, you can always use honey instead. Or what's the equivalent? Like light corn syrup or dark corn syrup? One of the corn syrups. I will write that on screen. I'm gonna turn my heat on to a low heat to begin with, and I'm gonna add the condensed milk and your butter, your light brown sugar, your golden syrup or honey, and your salt. So you don't have to add salt here, especially if you're using salted butter. But if you like your caramel salty like I do, then about half a teaspoon is great. And then you're just gonna stir these together. So the butter is gonna melt, the sugar is gonna dissolve, and everything is gonna come together. Now all the butter is melted and everything is combined, you're gonna turn up the heat to about a medium heat. You're gonna keep stirring because otherwise it will catch and burn, and we don't want that. And you're gonna wait until it starts to bubble and thicken. Okay, so it's starting to bubble consistently now, and I can see that it's thickened. So when you pull your spatula through the middle of the caramel, it should come together slowly like this. Okay, so it should take a couple of seconds to come back together, and that's when you know it's thick enough. We're also gonna test it with the soft ball stage test, which I will demonstrate now. So now grab a little spoon and grab a small amount of caramel and just drop it into a glass of ice cold water. Carefully does it. So you should be able to see, let me do a tiny bit more, that it's formed a nice little ball in the glass. And you can even take it out with your fingers. There we go. You probably saw that one a little bit better, or you hopefully did. And then you can actually pick it up, and you can see that it forms this nice little soft ball. So that is what your caramel is basically gonna look. That is basically what your caramel is gonna look like when it's set. So now let's go put this on our cookies. Okay, so this is what your cookies should look like. So they're fully cooked and fully cooled now. So as you can see, they're slightly brown, but they're mostly just light. So these are gonna be nice and soft and stay like melt in your mouth. So I'm gonna top half of our cookies with the caramel that we've just made. So about a tablespoon, that might be a bit too much. And then you're just gonna push it on to your cookie. And then you're just gonna spread it out. Also, I forgot to mention, if you did want to make a slightly darker caramel, you can always use dark brown sugar instead of light brown sugar, and you'll get a deeper golden color. Okay, there we go. So as you saw, it sets really quickly. So you need to be pretty quick with it, and you can also wet your spoon as well so it doesn't stick to the spoon as much. So that's half our cookies done. So I'm gonna set the rest of this caramel aside for now. And the rest of them I'm gonna show you with this salted caramel sauce. So this one you'll see is a little bit runnier. So again, you're just gonna get a little dollop of it. About a tablespoon of soft salted caramel. So as you can see, this one is a lot darker. So this one with dark brown sugar would look more like this. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna set these aside and then we're gonna melt our chocolate. Now we're gonna melt our chocolate. So I'm using milk chocolate today and I'm gonna use about 100 grams, which is about half that chocolate bar. Did I even break that evenly? So you can do this, I can't open this. You can do this in the microwave or in a double boiler, which is on the hob. So if you were to do it using a double boiler, if you don't have a microwave, then you just get a pan about half full of simmering water and you would place your bowl over the pan so it sits just above the water and you keep stirring it and the chocolate melts that way. It's a really nice way to melt chocolate because it's the least likely way that it's gonna burn. Does that make sense? But I like doing it in the microwave because it's quick and easy and less washing up. Okay, so I'm gonna melt this in the microwave at about 500 watts, about a medium heat, in 1 minute bursts, stirring until melted. Now our chocolate is fully melted, I've brought back our cookies and I'm just gonna scoop a little teaspoon of chocolate onto the top of each cookie. And then I'm just gonna spread it out. Try to be really gentle with this because you don't want to disturb the caramel underneath. There we go. And I've also cut up a little Twix bar here into about 2 centimeter pieces. And I'm just gonna press that on top. So that's what they'll look like and I'm gonna do the rest. Now I would recommend popping these in the fridge for about 20 minutes just to help the chocolate set. You can actually store these in the fridge or you can keep them at room temperature. These ones are okay kept at room temperature. These ones, because the caramel is runnier at room temperature, I'd recommend probably storing them in the fridge. These ones are kind of like a slightly fancier, more ingredient version, and these are like the easier basic version. So in 20 minutes or about 2 seconds for you guys, I will be back for a taste test. Okay, we are back and the chocolate on top of our cookies has now set. So my favorite bit, let's do a taste test. I'm gonna go for one of these with our homemade caramel on top. I'm so excited for this. But messy. It's so nice. I love shortbread. It just like melts in your mouth, doesn't it? It really does taste like a Twix with like the caramel and the chocolate. Oh, it's so good. Okay guys, so that is the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know in the comments what video you'd like me to make next. See you in the next one. Bye.